guest, I'm here with Bruce Mackay, who is this year's Cornerstone Citizenship recipient. And I've had this conversation with Bruce before, so I'm excited to have him join me again to talk a little bit about what brings you to being recognized this year. And the story that we started with, 2017, Quinte Business Achievement Award, Business Person of the Year. And I know then you were a bit in shock. I'm hoping you're just as excited about this one.
Very much so.
And I think what part of that was is that you shared how sports have been such a big part of your life. And we're going to get into a little bit more than that. But just to give people some context, when your family moved here to Belleville from a politically tumultuous Quebec, I did the same, so I know exactly from whence you came, but that you knew no one. Yeah. And so with little money and feeling pretty lonely, that's when your mom made the decision to start a tradition that continues to this day, and that was the potluck after the New Year's Eve hockey day. Now, I don't know if you got to do that this year.
Not this year, but...
I know, but you invited people to join you.
Yeah.
And that's when things started to change.
Yeah.
And so your father also started supporting local teams, and that really it was the sports, and you thought it was just so cool that your dad was the guy that bought all the hats for the team. We can talk a little bit about your best present ever being the used pair of skates, but I think I'm going to just pass it over to you and tell us a little bit about what has motivated you to give back to this community?
Well, when we first arrived here in 1977, we really did know no one. And I mean, people used to make fun of me and call me Bruce the Moose when I arrived. And I thought he was a famous singer at the mall. But when we got here, we really knew no one. And it was some hard days, really hard days. And my parents really made the effort to get out and know the community. So that was in the early 80s. We started going to hockey games. We started, instead of feeling sorry for ourselves, we started making our own community. And the example of my parents really motivated me when I saw them reach out to people who were like us, that were kind of orphans in the Quinte region. I saw that my faith is so important to me, and giving back has just become part of my parents' DNA, and I'm hoping to follow in their example.
And I think you've done a great job. So the obvious one is the Mackay Arena at the Quinte Sports and Wellness Center. And that, now when I had that opportunity to meet with you and brought me into your office, Habs fans.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
And tell me about that chair.
Well, I've got actually all 6 original seats from all 6 teams in my office. But the one that's really most important to me, my dad took me to my very first ever Canadiens game in 1987. I still remember, it was Boston Bruins in Montreal, and Montreal won 4-2, and I kept my ticket stub. And when they closed down the Montreal Forum, I actually bought that exact seat. And so it represents to me not just a neat piece of memorabilia, but it was memory of my dad going to games. We went to hundreds of games together, and that is the most important to me, that just the memory I had with him.
And so then you have the opportunity to name an arena.
Yeah, he passed away in 2016, and I kept seeing the opportunities that come up, and I thought, I really want to honor my dad. Like, I really want to do something to remember him by, and the naming rights of the arena were there, and I thought, how cool is it to support our community, but also to remember my dad. And my son played rep hockey all the way up, and going by the arena wall and just tapping my dad's picture every time I went by, it's pretty cool. And then when I saw some visiting opposing players by that picture, I'd give them the evil eye just to make sure they didn't touch that picture. But my dad
Can't be their good luck charm.
No, but my dad loved coming to watch all of us play hockey. I mean, I was in my mid-40s playing for the Belleville Bulls adult camp late at night, and there'd be no one in the whole arena. I'd look up in the corner, there's my dad watching me. So it was pretty special.
And so it's one thing to have your dad's name there, or your name, but it's also, what kind of impact does that create for the teams in this community by doing that?
Well, when I was young, and you alluded to it earlier, my dad sponsored our softball team and the soccer team I was on, and it was so important to me back then. And I don't know how many teams we sponsor now, but what I see sports do for kids, what I see it do for families. I mean, people my age, that's our community. Those were our friends, and just being able to gather together. And that's the thing I missed during the pandemic. It's been brutal because you haven't been able to tailgate with the parents and talk to them. And I missed that, but that was such a huge part of it. So to be able to sponsor teams, to be able to give back to the community and to support kids. I still have kids coming up to me saying, I played, they've got the shirts, they still got them. And it's pretty cool. Like I forget that I coached them, or I forget, and they come right up, hey, Coach Bruce, and it's so cool to be a part of that.
Oh, that's phenomenal. So that's your obvious one. Some of the other things, again, citizenship is about giving back to your community, and this award really does recognize that impact. And I mean, people are often recognized for their altruism in many different ways. And we, from the chamber side of things, want to also say you've used your business as an opportunity to support this. And without that business that your dad came and started here, that wouldn't have been an opportunity. So that's where we tie it back to the chamber. Some of the other things that maybe you've done that people might not be familiar with.
You know what, I've been a volunteer with Hockey Ministries International, so I'm a team chaplain. I've been the chaplain for the Belleville Bulls for 11 years, and now I'm working with the Belleville Senators. We do a lot of work with the Grace Inn Shelter and Christmas sharing. I'll tell you a quick story about when I was 15. Can I share that story?
Absolutely.
My mom made me walk home. We lived out in the country, and when I was getting my hair cut, I was supposed to call my mother. This is well before cell phones. And so I was supposed to call my mother, and she would come, drive in, pick me up. Well, I had inadvertently borrowed her keys because I was practicing to learn to drive. And when I called her, she couldn't come and pick me up because I had her keys. So she made me walk home all the way from Belleville. It was about a 10-kilometer walk, and it was 2 days before Christmas. Well, I gave her a hard time, and even till when she died, the year before she died, I still would call her up on the 23rd of December, and I would tell her, I said, I can't believe you made me do this. And every year it would get progressively worse. You know, I was in bare feet. It was uphill, the elements. And so the year she died in 2011, and it was the 25th anniversary of my original walk. And so I wanted to do something to honor my mom. And so I decided I was going to walk home from work again. And I hit up my friends and family. I said, I want to raise a couple $100 for Christmas sharing. Christmas sharing has been a massive part of our family too. We love Christmas and love to share with those in need. So I wanted to raise about $200 and give it to Christmas sharing that year. And we've done it 10 years now, and we've raised over $70,000.
$70,000.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
phenomenal.
It's pretty cool.
And your ability to engage other people to support that, I think that's the wonderful piece about your citizenship here, is that it's not just about you, it's about all of the other people that benefit, not just because of a little bit, but by getting involved. So the kids who get involved with sports, the people who got involved with Christmas sharing, it's not just about the people that you help, it's also about the positive fallout around that.
I think it's connecting with people too. I mean, my faith is a big part of who I am, and a lot of times our interactions with people, we can have either negative, it's like a bank account, we are either withdrawing from people or we're making deposits. And my parents were depositors in this community, and I want to be a depositor, and so I want to make sure I'm making an impact.
That's phenomenal. Any other thoughts about where you see this going? Kids following in your footsteps?
You know, my son's going off to college at Loyalist next year, and so we'll see. It's pretty neat. When I first moved here, my dad asked me in grade 9 if I wanted to join the business. I said no. Grade 10, I said no. Grade 11, and by the time we got to OAC, I said, "Oh, let me talk to you about this." So my son is in the no way dad right now.
Right.
But we'll see. But it's pretty neat to have them involved, and just to watch what we're doing as a family. So.
And how about, we've got a couple minutes left, how about the growth of Mackay Insurance over the years?
It's, you know, when we first came here, it was just my dad, and then he hired someone in 1979. So there was just two of us, or two of them working, and then I joined, and there was 4. And I remember as a kid growing up, we would do mailings together. We would send out calendars. We would, as a family, that was our Christmas tradition. We had to send all our customers mailings and overcome with how the business has grown. There was just a few of us, and now there's over 20 of us, and we're continuing to grow, and I'm just humbled by it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.